Democracy is like a tree, says this guy Sterling, who didn't have a job and spoke Arabic and Italian and Spanish and French. He was what you'd call a world traveler. He studied Arabic in Jerusalem. He taught Arabic students in France. He studied Arabic in Damascus. And in 2006, he signed up with the U.S. Army to be a civilian interpreter. You see, Sterling believed in America, but he also believed in Arabs and Iraq. Yeah, Sterling needed money, but he also wanted to do something noble. He thought maybe America and Iraq could use him. Tal Afar, Sterling's first assignment, was on the border of Iraq and Syria. Terrorists had roughed up the city. School children were being taught how to rig bombs by gangsters with fifth-grade educations until innovative Colonel H.R. McMaster cleaned the city up with a set of counterinsurgency principles. He partnered with the local police and stationed his troops in outposts next to the citizens they were there to protect. And he apologized. The U.S. had made many mistakes in Iraq. Sterling's brigade under Colonel Sean McFarland replaced McMaster's. By that time, the city had shaped up, but IEDs still went off all the time. One day after he arrived, Sterling had his first taste of war. His boss, James Lechner, stopped the Humvee to investigate the work of two suicide bombers on a local market. Sterling accompanied Lechner and his team on night raids through the uneven streets of Tal Afar. He explained to the tired children and weary parents why they were there. He interpreted the confessions of the terrorists they caught. Some had political agendas, some were desperate for money, some were drug addicts, and some were just plain cruel. Most of all, he learned that his job was not only to translate, it was to help the American army understand Iraq. Sterling understood Arabs. He liked poetry. So did Arabs. He liked to gesture with his hands, speak loudly. When Sterling felt touched, he got teary-eyed. This cultural understanding was one of Sterling's major contributions on his next assignment, Ramadi. In 2006, one of the most dangerous cities in Iraq, and hence the most dangerous city in the world. Ramadi, then a universally acknowledged hellhole, was situated on lush farmlands around the Euphrates River. Route Michigan, the main artery, was so covered with sewage, nobody knew it was paved. The citizens of Ramadi had no water or electricity and didn't dare come out of their houses. Terrorists controlled 2/3 of the city. It was a war that America could not win, but somebody could: Iraqi police. But Iraqi police had stopped showing up for work. Al-Qaeda beheaded police and publicly whipped them in their underwear. Once Sterling's brigade rolled into town, Lieutenant Colonel Lechner, Sterling's boss, started building a police force. Help came from unusual places. Sheikh Sattar Abu Risha told Lechner he would help him recruit police. He was a minor sheikh from a minor tribe, but thousands of men gathered at his home. Sattar had something Iraqis call wasta, influence. And then he decided to do something radical. Sattar liked big ideas. He was also full of hot air. He announced the awakening. The citizens of Ramadi would embrace Americans as a friendly forces. They would gang up against the terrorists and uphold the rule of law. The other sheikhs weren't so sure about Sattar's Gucci glasses or his pedigree, but Sattar was on to something. They had to jump on the wagon or be left behind. Then there were these midnight vigilantes named the Thuwar, who dressed up like terrorists and went after Al-Qaeda in the night, out of revenge for killing their relatives. Top targets on the U.S. Most Wanted list kept showing up dead in the morning with signs on their chests. And some former insurgents flipped sides. One was Salam. He looked like Rambo and ran a very successful police station. Many times the U.S. Army and the Iraqis had a hard time understanding each other. This was where Sterling came in, and Captain Travis Patrickin, who spoke some Arabic, ate with his hands, and most importantly, had a big black mustache. The Iraqis loved him so much, they adopted him into the tribe. But the most important part of this story is that the U.S. Army and the Iraqis worked together. They got rid of Al-Qaeda in Ramadi and just maybe paved the way for a representative government. Is democracy possible in the Middle East? Time will only tell. Democracy is like a tree. Date palms grow along the Tigris and the Euphrates. When they are carefully nourished, they bear fruit when the season is right. Democracy cannot be transplanted. It is homegrown. For more information about Reign in Anbar, an interpreter's story of the Sunni awakening, please see www.erinandthomas.com.